We're live, as always. Copyright. Signature notes right here. Should probably grab a shirt. There we go. This gives me plenty of prep time. Wonder After Dark, the only show that's basically filler. Oh, we have our audience. Okay. Thankfully, you don't miss much in these 3 minutes. Alright. Your fan is loud, and that is actually my air conditioner and my AC. So actually, that would be my AC is loud. I would turn it off, but it gets hot in this room. But anyway, welcome to the second exciting episode of Wonder After Dark. Since the last episode went really well and was a hit at the box office, I figured we'll do another one. So yeah. And I guess it would only be appropriate to kind of pick up where we left off, talking about My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. Specifically, I want to talk a specific aspect that I did admittedly touch upon last time, but we're going to kind of do an add-on to that little issue. I said that in terms of official releases, that Hasbro has made the show weirdly hard to find. To recap, the DVD releases only go up to Season 7. 8 and 9 were never released, at least in most of the world. I know 8 was released in some countries, but 9 isn't available anywhere from what I can tell. And the movie was released by Lionsgate. But, oh yeah, and then in terms of streaming, Netflix only goes up to Season 4. Don't know where 5 through 9 went, but sure. Now, why I bring this up again. The DVDs for the show are an interesting case. You can still buy them on Amazon, brand new, sold and shipped by Amazon, for pretty affordable prices. Although I don't think that any actual new copies are being produced. Because those DVDs, for the first 7 seasons, were released by Shout Factory. Shout lost the rights after season 7, as far as I'm aware. Now, they did keep the rights to some other Hasbro properties. Example, Transformers Prime, Hasbro property. Shout still puts out DVDs for this one, so they kept the rights to that, but My Little Pony they lost the rights to. So I think whatever is available on Amazon is simply just leftover stock, essentially. On Walmart, interestingly, the Season 1 DVD is listed under Universal Studios. Oh, check your messages. Okay. Anyway. Thanks. Anyway. Where I was going with that. The Season 1 DVD on Walmart.com is listed under Universal Studios. Instead, okay. It's beautiful. This is a beautiful image. Anyway, the Season 1 DVD on Walmart.com is interestingly listed under Universal Studios instead of Shout Factory. So I guess Universal picked up the rights at some point, but I have no idea. The movie is also interesting. Again, it's still readily available in new condition on Amazon, sold and shipped by Amazon. So I would assume Lionsgate still possesses the rights to the movie. Definitely not the ownership, that would be Hasbro's, but I would assume the distribution rights are still owned by Lionsgate, hence why it's still available. So, there's that. But why I bring this up? Most of the show is available, officially. Again, I know Internet Archive exists. That's how I watched those early episodes, but we're going to exclude, pirated copies. We're going to talk official. No disrespect to piracy, just talking official releases for a minute. Most of the show is available officially. 7 out of 9 seasons, the movie. I know Equestria Girls was released too, but I don't know if all of it was released or only some of it. But anyway, where I'm going with this, let me grab my example here. Well, yeah. All right. I know that this is kind of a goofy-ass example, but we're using this as a visual. I think an easy... Jesus Christ. Anyway. I think a good way to fix this issue would be to do sets like this, where you have multiple seasons in one package. You can do 2 of these, so seasons 1 through 5 and then 6 through 9, but just do Blu-ray sets like this, or DVD, could be either, could be both, but just do sets like this that have, you know, a good chunk of the show and a good amount of bonus features. Market them at a pretty low price so that people will buy them. And then maybe after you've released these 2 sets, you can do like a complete, like all-in-one box set. I don't know. If you're gonna, I don't know. Just the fact that it's probably, I know. I say anyway a lot, and I do apologize. But I just think it's surprising. You know, Hasbro's biggest show. Anyway. But I just think it's surprising. You know, Hasbro's biggest show, biggest property, but yet they don't have like any complete series set out or a box set or anything at all. Or it's not even all on streaming. I mean, not releasing it on DVD and Blu-ray, I kind of get, because Hasbro doesn't really do physical media anymore. In fact, if you want any proof of that, Power Rangers got DVD releases all the way up to, ironically, when Hasbro bought the franchise. The last season of Power Rangers to be released on DVD was Super Ninja Steel. That was 2018. Everything after just went straight to Netflix, with nothing anywhere in the world. And then Hasbro proceeded to remove a good chunk of the show from Netflix. Anyway, but I just think that would be an easy way to fix this potential issue. Is just put out, like, budget, slim, compact, multi-season collections. If you're not going to do a complete series box set, and you're not going to put it all on Netflix, at least do sets like this. Again, I know this is kind of a silly one to use as my photo example, but it conveys what I want perfectly. Like, size and everything. But yeah, let's put this back on the shelf. So yeah. Yeah. Okay. Tried my hardest not to say anyway there, but I just think that'd be a good way to potentially eliminate that problem. I will say though, it bothers me, without going on a whole other rant, it bothers me when they release like the good majority of a show, and they get like this close to the end, and then they either stop or they make it rare or some other form of bullshit. I could list off some examples, but we would be here all night. Like, we literally would be here all night if I would list off those examples, so let's not waste breath on that. Besides, you can probably find some other person's rant about that exact topic. So yeah. Alright, we are 14 minutes in. I'm not saying I'm bone dry on thoughts, but passing this over to you, audience. Is there anything else you would like to hear about for the remainder of this episode? Because I got at least messages, okay. Yep. Anyway, but... I mean, that is goals. God. Oh, boy. Episode 2, and we're already going back there. Anyway. Okay, I mean, yeah, that is true. So let's, kind of... There we go. Hey, look. The spider said something a little, not serious, but considerate. I appreciate the consideracy there. I know consideracy probably isn't a word, but, yeah. Thanks for the advice. Thanks for... I don't even mean that as a joke, just... Thanks for the advice. I mean, I will say, though, I've seen worse, but still, thanks for the advice, audience. Anyway, but, now that we got our little My Little Pony fix for this episode, is there anything else you'd like to hear about for the remainder? I got plenty of time. Talk about my life as a teenage robot. Oh, that's going to be tricky. Oh, I'll do it, but don't expect me to know much. In fact, don't expect me to go on like a full retrospective. I'm going to keep this as positive as I can. So, my life as a teenage robot. Well, even though this show so far only has one regular viewer, I'm still going to provide this bit of context for potential future viewers. So, I have had an interesting history with my life as a teenage robot, which I'm just going to refer to as Teenage Robot from here on out, just to simplify. Okay, so, anyway, I didn't really have, like, an interesting history in the same way I did with My Little Pony. I just mean interesting. I always knew my life as a teenage robot existed. I am watching my words. Excuse me. But I don't recall ever seeing it when it was new on TV. I knew the show existed. I had seen the show. I just don't recall ever seeing, like, new episodes or even reruns on Nickelodeon. In fact, how I really know the show exists are from DVDs like this. You know, the Nick Pics. Be careful how you say that. Yeah. Probably because it was canned when you were like 2. Yeah. And it was canned when you were 1. But, yeah. But yeah, these DVDs are how I really know the show existed. I guess I'll show these just because. Nick Pics, Volume 2, over 3 hours of laughs and adventures. Back when they used to do these were fun releases. These DVDs would contain just like a grab bag of different Nickelodeon series episodes. The specific episodes on this one are Fairly Odd Parents, The Big Superhero Wish, All Grown Up, Interview with a Campfire, SpongeBob SquarePants, I'm With Stupid, SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob Meets the Strangler, and of course, My Life as a Teenage Robot, Gridiron Glory. That sounds like a way more serious movie, honestly. Anyway, Jimmy Neutron, Sleepless in Retroville, Danny Phantom, Splitting Images, and Rugrats All Grown Up. Hey, did you know one of the actors on Danny Phantom passed away recently? Gridiron Glory, get it right. Oh yeah, a Danny Phantom actor passed away. Anyway. But yeah, I guess there's the disc if you really wanted to know what that looked like. I miss when Nickelodeon was fun like this. When their branding was like simplistic, yes, but still colorful and fun and lively. And I would talk about, some of the bad things that have happened at Nick, but I'd rather not. And, yeah. I was going to say, this serves as a good time capsule, and yeah, it does. Copyright 2005, Viacom International Incorporated. And right here we're advertising Rugrats, Tales from the Crib, Snow White, SpongeBob, Absorbing Favorites, Fairly Odd Parents, School's Out, the musical, Fairly Odd Parents, Scary Godparents, Nick Picks Volume 1, Drake and Josh Volume 1. I could go on about how Drake and Josh is also a ass impossible show to find, but that's a story for another episode. All Grown Up, RV Having Fun Yet, and All Grown Up, Dude, Where's My Horse? The amount of restraint I just had to use to not quote, Dude, Where's My Car? The amount of restraint I just had to use. But yeah, these DVDs are how I knew Teenage Robot existed. And Zack Snyder's Rugrats. I want to make a joke about that, but all of those jokes end with a court case, so I'm not gonna, but yeah. Okay, but what do I think of Teenage Robot? Well, it's funny. I watched My Little Pony, didn't expect to like it as much as I did. I end up liking it. So you would probably think, oh, that would happen with Teenage Robot too, right? Release the diaper cut. Okay, anyway, you would probably think, that would happen with Teenage Robot too. I don't expect to like it. I end up watching it. I end up liking it. Well, I liked it. I don't hate it at all. I just wouldn't call it one of my favorites. Yeah, that might be a little surprising. Yeah. I don't hate it at all. In fact, I don't. Before you ask, my phone is turned off. There's nothing potentially bad that could be shown. There's nothing on the screen right now. But anyway, where I was going with that. But based on the few episodes I have seen of Teenage Robot, which is probably half a season, the equivalent, I would say, I don't hate it. I do enjoy it. I just wouldn't call it my favorite. Something that I would gladly leave on in the background if it were still airing reruns. But maybe not a show I would find myself watching, again and again and again. Again, that might come as a bit of a surprise, but that's just how it is. But you'll be glad to know that I don't hate it. I don't, I'm not going to be like, grab your robot torches and your robot pitchforks and your living cell organisms. Phone. There's nothing on the screen. It is turned off. There's nothing on the screen right now. That's an oldie, but a goldie, but I am not showing that. You did that on purpose. You saw an opportunity and you took it. Clever girl. Oh my god. Bitch. Clever girl. Anyway. But yeah. there's my kind of brief thoughts on Teenage Robot. Not one of my favorite shows, but not one that I despise either, despite what some claims I may have made in the past would imply. Truth be told, there's not really much I genuinely despise. I know that might seem like a lie, but really there's not much that I hate. A lot of movies and shows I do like are pretty bad. Talk Five Nights at Freddy's. Well, given that I have never played any of the FNAF games except for the mobile game, the AR game, which has since been shut down, I guess I'll just talk the movie. Again, I haven't played any of the games. The most long-term exposure I've gotten to Five Nights at Freddy's is the movie, so we'll go from there. So the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, I guess I'll give a brief little super condensed background, but basically it started development when Five Nights was like, well, yeah, that too. Five Nights at Freddy's, it started development, the movie started development, basically when it was like new, and then it took long to get made, and then it took so long that basically everybody that isn't Scott Cawthon said, we can do that before you can. So we started getting stuff like the 2015. Then we started getting stuff like the Banana Splits movie, and Willy's Wonderland, or whatever that one was called, and my mind just went blank. But we got stuff like that like weren't Five Nights at Freddy's, but were clearly capitalizing. And then eventually, we got the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Eventually, after what felt like what felt like forever. But yeah, I almost, but I learned my lesson. Anyway, but Five Nights at Freddy's. The movie finally released in October 2023, October 27th, if I'm not mistaken. It released simultaneously, same day, actually not even same day. It came out on Peacock on the 26th, and in theaters one day later. I don't know what they thought was the goal doing that, but okay. A certain somebody that I happen to be familiar with saw the movie, and I could see their excitement just by the end of the night. And all I could think to myself was, I told you so. I know that sounds really rude, but admittedly, I was thinking that. I was like, I told you so. But as time flew by, I started to realize, and before you hear that and think, oh God, you're going to say the movie's great, wasn't it? No, it isn't. I started to realize, oh, I really should have been aiming that I told you so at myself. And I'm not even a fan. I don't have any Five Nights at Freddy's merchandise, like toys, plushies. Never played any of the games. All I own is the movie. Yeah, I have the movie on Blu-ray. What's wrong with me? But yeah, I have a weird relationship with this movie. Never mind that I'm not a FNAF fan and I don't know everything, even though I kind of feel like I've been spoon-fed everything. But I go through phases where, like, this movie's really good, or this movie could have been really good, or this movie fucking sucks. Right now, I'd say I'm at, well, this movie was pretty competently made, but you can tell that some drastic cuts were made to make it either more marketable or to meet the minimum required runtime for theatrical distribution, but it's otherwise not the worst adaptation ever. Feel free to trademark that. But yeah, I don't think it's the worst movie ever. I don't think it's the worst video game adaptation. I just think it's in this really weirdly specific area that's like so hard to pinpoint. But yeah. Oh, and you're probably wondering, how did you watch it for the first time? Oh, wait. I feel... Alright, we're going to read from Mr. Spider here. I feel both nostalgic for it and disdain. I both think it's a good FNAF movie. Well, you misspelled it. It's move. You spelled it as move, not movie, but... Anyway. Alright, but you spelled it as move. But anyway, what I was saying. I feel both nostalgic for it and disdain. I both think it's a good FNAF movie and it's horrible. It truly disturbs me. I wouldn't say it disturbs me, but yeah. It's like, it's a good movie, but it's also not. I really wish there was a way to, like, put it into words. But it's just one of those. And of course, you know, there's the whole debacle about how, you know, this movie had like a ton of deleted scenes that still slipped through the cracks and made it into like the trailers and the marketing. And people thought surely they're going to include like the unrated cut or at least the deleted scenes on the Blu-ray, right? And then by the time it came out on Blu-ray, none of that stuff was there. Like, yeah. Five Nights at Freddy's, from game to big screen, killer animatronics, and Five Nights in 3 dimensions. No deleted scenes, no unrated cut, not even just a mere extended cut. Just nothing. And honestly, I don't think they're going to release the extended cut. As unfortunate as that might sound, I mean, the fact that they just announced Five Nights at Freddy's 2, like, actual sequel, yeah, I don't see them going back and doing anything with this one again. You know, they've shifted gears to the sequel. So, yeah. But regardless, it is still a movie that I think is interesting. It's a movie that, you know, I do enjoy in some ways, and it's a movie I don't like in others. Really, I think any movie has a story, to me, and this is definitely one of those. So yeah. I will say, though, there are definitely some aspects that I do wish could have been improved upon. I'm not going to make a long-winded rant out of this. I already have someone who can for me, but to keep it brief, it feels like the William Afton character, in the context of the movie, was a complete afterthought. It's Morbin time. Well, we're talking about Five Nights at Freddy's, but indeed it is Morbin time. Anyway, in the context of the movie, it feels like the William Afton character was a complete afterthought. Like, he shows up early on as just the career man, and then, you know, he pops in and out periodically, but then for like the entire middle portion of the movie, like the good majority of the runtime, he's just not there. Like, literally, like the entire like middle out of a 1 hour and 50-minute movie, it's like he shows up here at like the very beginning, and then he's just like absent for the majority of the runtime, and then, oh shit, we need a climax, and suddenly he's back. And I feel like there was like, okay, I mean, yeah, they do show the yellow rabbit early on. I do remember that, before you call me stupid. But even then, it feels like there was no setup. Like, it just kind of happens. Even though there was setup, it feels like there's no setup. Like, I'm not saying this should have been the... Thank you. William Afton, more like William Absent. That is exactly the damn case with this movie. For someone who's like the central figure and kind of like why this whole thing happened in the first place, he's barely in the movie. To all the shitheads who say that Knuckles is barely in the Knuckles show, I'm aware I probably just made myself look and sound really fruity, but whatever. But yeah, Fart Knives at Fredericton's. It's a movie that exists, based on a video game that really exists. And that's all I can say about it. I should clip that part. I'm giving you permission for all of these moving forward to just clip whatever part you think is either the funniest or just the best out of context. Even if it's not particularly funny. Let me put this away. Okay, we got a bit more time to kill. Is there anything else you got in your system? I have no idea. Okay, so I guess for the rest of this episode, I'm just gonna kind of just bullshit my way through this. Yeah. I guess for the rest of this episode, I'm just gonna kind of bullshit up some topics until the time runs out, or until I get bored. Granted, I don't really get bored doing these, but sometimes my brain is like, okay, I've had enough of this. Alright, so, thinking of some shit to talk about. Looking around. Just thinking. The rest of the episode, you should read our conversations. I might do that at the end. But I'm going to have to be very careful. I'm going to have to, like, pick and choose. But, I might do that at the end. But for now, I'm trying to think of, like, some other, like, tangent I can go on. Okay, well, this just came to me. Toy Story 5 was announced a while back. It's not exactly news at this point, but I had a thought related to Toy Story 5, besides the fact that it's just completely unnecessary. If they have to continue the Toy Story franchise past that fourth movie, there's two things I would have preferred if they done. The first of these, I'm too lazy to go grab it, but the first of these that I would have preferred... Oh yeah, that is true. Pinkie Pie is way scarier than Jeff the Killer. But anyway. But if they had to continue the Toy Story franchise past Toy Story 5, there's two things I would have preferred if they had done. The first excuse me. The first would be more shorts. So stuff like the Toy Story Toons, which if you don't know what those are, those were the shorts they did after the release of Toy Story 3. They did 3 of those. They did Hawaiian Vacation, Small Fry, and Partysaurus Rex. And then they did 2 TV specials, although those aren't really considered a part of the series. Those were... Shut up. God. Anyway, then they did 2 TV specials, those being Toy Story of Terror and Toy Story That Time Forgot. But anyway, the second way I would have preferred continuing the franchise would be stuff like Lightyear. You know, Lightyear, that really bizarre movie that came out back in 2022 that had pretty good potential but didn't do great at the box office and was kind of a clusterfuck of a story. But yeah, even though Lightyear is like not a great movie, I would take another movie in that style over another mainline Toy Story. We don't need Toy Story 5. Like, give us a Woody movie in the same style as Lightyear, I'll take it. Give us Toy Story 5, you better file the restraining order before I do. But I'm just saying, Toy Story 1, 2, 3, we kind of had like a perfect trilogy. And then those specials and the shorts, we kind of got like a nice little epilogue. Toy Story 4, we kind of got the end of Woody's story. Okay, that's a pretty solid franchise, but what else is there to tell? Other than why Andy's dad is absent, there's not really... You know what? An Indiana Jones-style Woody and Jesse film. Thank you! That I would actually really like. In fact, okay, Lightyear, as we know, was the spin-off, not about the toy Buzz Lightyear, but was like, in 1995, Andy saw a movie, and this is that movie, even though it's like so not a 90s movie at all, but I would love if they were to keep doing that. Maybe not for every single character. Like, don't give us a Mr. Potato Head movie, but do, like, Woody's Roundup in that same style. So, like, an Indiana Jones-style adventure film. And then do, like, a Rex film that's like, you know, Rex and all the dinosaurs. Make it, like, very cheesy and campy. And then do a Zurg movie that could take place in the Lightyear universe. That would be a good way to continue the franchise without basically beating a dead horse. Besides, we all know that horses are based and that we should never beat them. A Godfather-style Mr. Potato... Okay, I take it back. I would love that. A Godfather-style Mr. Potato Head film. I take it back. That is the only way you could do a Mr. Potato Head film. That is just gold. Okay, but yeah, that was just on my mind. And I guess somewhat related. Remember when they used to do the direct-to-video Disney sequels? You know, Aladdin 2 and 3, Lion King 97 kajillion, Return to Neverland, all of those. Jungle Book 2, I just remember that because Jungle Book is right in my eyesight. But yeah, all the direct-to-video Disney sequels that they used to do way back when. I don't really recall watching any of those. I knew they existed, but I don't really recall watching any of them. I don't have any of them in my possession that I'm aware of. I mean, even I kind of start to lose track, but I don't really recall watching any of them. They just kind of exist. But something I have noticed is that, as of late, I would say the direct-to-video Disney sequel has kind of been replaced. Oh, wait. Oh. It's like a mafia film about competing Potato Head brands. It can be a Okay, never mind. Give me the Mr. Potato Head movie and give me that. That is brilliant. That is just amazing. That's just beautiful. I love it. I want it. Give me it. Anyway, but where I was going with this. But like but I've noticed that instead of the direct-to-video, low-budget Disney sequel, now they instead make either short film follow-ups or TV specials. So instead of Toy Story 4, granted we did eventually get Toy Story 4, but we got Of Terror and That Time Forgot. Or instead of Tangled 2, we got Tangled whatever it was called. I know the short, but the name of it is escaping me at the moment. And then Frozen, of course, got a bunch of shorts as well. Although, weirdly enough, if I had to pick between getting direct-to-video sequels that might be well-written, but don't have as nice of production quality, or short films that don't really have much time to flesh out the characters, but might be of higher quality, I'll actually take the short films. Sure, you don't get as much time to tell like a full storyline or anything, but you're not going to get like rushed animation, you're not going to get like sloppy animation, because I know some of those direct-to-video sequels were really rough. And I know, oh yeah, and some of them, actually a lot of them I've noticed, they typically get back the movie. Whenever they do the short film follow-ups, they do typically get back the cast of the movies. Unlike the direct-to-video sequels, where like sometimes they would, but sometimes they wouldn't. But yeah, that was just on my mind. I don't know, I'd say the show is kind of starting to wind down for tonight, but at the same time, we're not really, like, right at the end yet. Well, anyway, I guess because I just mentioned them in passing, what are your thoughts on Frozen? If you, pitch a random film idea. I'll do that in a minute. But before I pitch a random film idea, what are your thoughts on Frozen? If you have seen it. Random, I know, but I just mentioned it in passing. But yeah, thoughts on that lovely little film? I don't know, I actually like the first Frozen. Yeah, I don't think I've actually seen Frozen in its entirety. I feel like I have, but I don't think I have. In fact, name a Disney princess film, I'll tell you if I've seen it or not. Just, sure. Just name any and I'll tell you if I've seen them. Princess and the Frog, I have not seen it. I've seen the trailer, haven't seen the movie. But yeah, that's one that I have not seen. Good movie, though. Well, I mean, clearly it has your seal of approval, but would you recommend it? Because if so, I might get to it, eventually. Pocahontas. Haven't seen it. I've seen bits and pieces, like few bits here and there, but I haven't seen it start to finish. Just getting some research here. You can keep going. Take your time. I won't rush. Doom. Fuck it. Well, I haven't seen Doom Annihilation, but I have seen Doom starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So there's that. Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Well, Mortal Kombat Annihilation is one of those movies that I have had in my possession for over a year now, but I still haven't watched. So yeah. Sonic Annihilation. What about Anal Annihilation? There it is. There's where the show starts to fly off the rails. Oh, this is a lovely show. This whole show really is just two friends bickering with each other, and I love it for that. Only 2 episodes in. Okay. And this is the ultimate try not to laugh challenge. This is the ultimate try not to laugh challenge. If you're wondering what I'm doing, typing up the caption. So that's why I'm... Please tell me these are actual titles. Alright. I cannot type to save my life. That. I don't even have a comeback for any of these. I don't even have like some jokey... I don't do these in character. I don't script these, but I don't even have like a jokey in character response to any of these. It's oh, of course that's actually a movie. Why wouldn't that be a movie? Oh, God. Tell you what, did you know Blow Me Sandwich is a real movie, audience? Now you know. Okay, that's enough making dirty jokes for this episode. Go. Okay. Yep, of course that's a real movie that really exists. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. And truth be told, I'm not really surprised, honestly. In fact, I think what would have been surprising is that being a movie that doesn't exist. It's okay. Okay, noted. Alright. Story was weak, though. Okay, then. I really am starting to run out of thoughts for this episode. Almost dropped the remote. Okay, I really am running out of thoughts for this episode. So, as I said, it was the. Someone's a comedian. Okay. I really am running out of thoughts for this episode. So, do we have any requests before we finish up this episode? I mean, I'm not, like, done, but I got maybe 10, 15 more minutes. I wish I had thoughts to run out. Don't we all? This is taking a while. Okay, I know you seem to be bone dry on thoughts, but is there anything else you'd like to see me talk creepypasta? You read my mind. I don't know, me bored. I mean, I'm not really bored, I'm just kind of EP. But, I guess, okay, even my brain just went south. Although I will say this, once again, I'm far too lazy to go grab it, but I'm not sure if it was exactly a year ago, but I do know it was close to a year ago. This is taking a while to post. Anyway, I don't know if it was exactly a year ago, but I do know it was probably close to it, when I got the Blu-ray for the Slender Man movie at a flea market not far from where we are. And I never watched it. I've had it for... I'll read that in a minute. I've had it in my possession for either a year or close to it now, but I just never watched it. It's not that I didn't care to, it's not that I regret buying it, I just never got around to it. You'd be impressed how many of these movies and shows I have bought and then I don't watch for X amount of time. I do watch the things that I buy eventually, but I'm usually not immediate. So yeah. Yeah. In fact, truth be told, a lot of these are blind buys, but that's a story for another day. Oh, brief intermission, because it's time for the funny image. Here's the funny image of the night. Just Will chilling with an alien. A Willian, if you will. So yeah. Oh yeah, the 4th of July is coming up. I don't care. But yeah. getting pretty hot in here. Futurama. Yeah, I know that's Futurama in the background. On the TV. Yep, I know that's Futurama. Got a problem with Futurama? Do you have a problem with Futurama? I like. Yeah, actually, do you like Futurama? Like, I know you actually do like a lot of things, but it's kind of hard to tell when you're bullshitting and when you're being serious. If I didn't, I wouldn't mention it. Okay, so there's a bit of lore. The Mr. Spider likes Futurama. So I guess I know what to talk about on a future episode. Okay, so, okay, I think I got about 10 to 15... I know I said this 10 to 15 minutes ago. Yeah. Gee, I wonder why you didn't mention this, even though you grew up on the TV series. Granted, this is not the boy you would have grew up with, but, you know, nostalgia. Nostalgia. Clip that if you want. Anyway, but, yeah. New lore. You like Futurama. Noted. So I guess I'll add that to the schedule for this show. I liked the model and CG shows. Yeah. Also, what a coinky dink. That's what I grew up on too. And already, based on when you were born, which I do know, but I'm not going to say, I can tell exactly what period you would have seen. So let's see. Just like me, you would have grown up on the Hit era, when Hit Entertainment got a hold of the show, mixed with 2000, yep, mixed with the Britt Allcroft era, which they kind of existed hand in hand at the time. So that would have been the model era. You know, seasons 1 through 7, Britt Allcroft. Season 8 and on, Hit. And then, well, you say the CGI series, though the CG series ran till Big World, Big Adventures. But I can tell you capped off right about, I want to say you capped off here with Day of the Diesels. This would have been 2011. 2011. I imagine that's where you would have dropped off. Could be wrong, but that's where I imagine your cutoff was this time frame. Could be wrong, however. I'm just assuming. I loved Garfield as well. The live action, and hey, look! I don't have any of the straight-to-DVD movies, but hey, look, I have the brain rot. I feel disgusting looking at these. But I do have these, and let me tell you, this one's not as bad as people say it is. This one's actually terrible. Cat in the Hat is a masterpiece. Oh yeah, Cat in the Hat is a masterpiece. I know what you're thinking, even a fire extinguisher. You're not just wrong, you're stupid. And you're ugly, just like your mom. That whole damn movie. It's just like a ride at an amusement park. You mean like at Universal Studios? Chicken. God, the Cat in the Hat. I could talk that one for hours. But we don't have hours. In fact, I kind of want to finish this in the next couple of minutes, so purple goo man. Okay, for realsies. We're getting pretty close to what I'm considering the end of this episode. So, we're gonna... we're going to kind of do a question followed by a final topic. What would you like to see me cover on tomorrow night's episode? And would you like to hear me talk about another show that I got into fairly recently that is entirely different from any other show that I may or may not have talked about on this show? Sure, let's go with that. Bad movies we like. I'll add that to the schedule. But anyway, I guess to wrap this episode up, would you like to hear me talk about a show I got into fairly recently? For a couple minutes at least. Scrubs, yep, that's exactly where I was heading with this. Don't worry, this isn't long. Don't worry, I'm not going to be here all night. Okay. This ain't gonna take forever. I was kind of, like, not taking this off, but it's getting kind of hot in here, so. Basically, what's my history with Scrubs? Because everything in here I have some kind of history with. Everything in here, even if that history is a little unfortunate. Even if that history is a little unfortunate, But everything in here, everything I like has some kind of history to it. Scrubs was one of those shows that, like, I always knew existed, even back when I was a kid. But I always put it off for so long. Now, in the case of My Little Pony, it was because I always found it interesting, very appealing. But I just saw it as a girl show and didn't give it a chance for the longest time because of that. In the case of Scrubs, I just thought it looked boring as shit. I mean, I never saw, unlike My Little Pony, where, like, I saw enough to make some kind of judgment, Scrubs, I saw enough to make blind judgment. I was like, this is a show, like, about doctors in a hospital, like, you like this shit? And then knowing my brother liked it, I was like, oh, you like this shit? Really? But I never saw, like, enough to make any proper judgment of any kind. And, of course, it feels like I was always, it always felt like I was taunted by the show. And what proves this is this DVD that my brother had for the longest time. The complete and final 9th season. The final season of the show. Which is arguably the weirdest season, but I haven't gotten to that one yet. But anyway, I mean, I got it, but I haven't gotten to watch it yet. But anyway, I felt like this DVD was always taunting me. Like, look at us and our smug asses. You could see why people like this show, but you choose not to. That was basically how I felt for the longest time. And then, well, two things happened fairly recently. Actually, I'll read this. I always disliked how girl toy aisles were only ever pink and purple, but boy toy aisles had every color ever. Thank you. In fact, that's something I've noticed even nowadays. That's like the one thing in the toy aisle that, like, has remained consistent, is that girls just only get, like, pink and purple, but then boys, it's like, here's the whole ass pride flag. Back to the original topic, though. But anyway, two things happened fairly recent. The first of these, I find it weirdly, I do too. Like, really, I do find it very annoying. But anyway, two things happened fairly recent. The first of these was Zach Braff and Donald Faison started doing a series of commercials for T-Mobile. These commercials are funny the first time, but ungodly annoying the 9 millionth time. And if you haven't seen those commercials, consider yourself lucky. Zach and Donald are funny, but the commercials get annoying. And it only got more annoying when Jason Momoa got roped into it. Anyway, but that was occurrence number 1. Second occurrence, Donald Faison had begun starring on the now canceled NBC sitcom Extended Family, which ran for 1 season before getting canceled. But it was because of these two things that I felt like I was really being taunted. I was like, okay, surely there has to be a reason people like this show. So, I cracked. I bit the bullet. And I didn't try to drop kick it. I hate the Dean Winters insurance commercials. I haven't seen those. So I guess I'm lucky. Anyway, but I finally bit the bullet. I took a leap of faith. I finally sat down and watched the first 2 episodes on Disney+. And, well, episode 1 didn't quite sell me. I was like, okay, I can see why people like this show, but I wasn't completely sold yet. A certain scene in episode 2, however, was what sold me. And it was right at the end of the episode where I got sold. One second. Anyway. Alright. Episode 1, again, I was like, okay, I can see why people like this, but I wasn't completely sold yet. Episode 2. Season 1, Episode 2. Specifically, one scene at the end was what sold me. I'm presenting it to you like this, despite how crude it is, because, well, 1, I don't know really what the copyright is for this, and 2, you know, it's what I got. Anyway, right towards the end of the episode, I'm going to present this scene completely out of context.
Would you be a man? Look, if you can't stick to your convictions, you'll never make it as a doctor. I can't believe your head exploded. If your head explodes, you'll never make it as a doctor. I mean, come on, you look ridiculous.
So many things about this one scene just added up. First of all, the extremely obvious transition from Zach to what is clearly a plastic mannequin. 2, the really cheap effects that are like so obviously fake. 3, just the super casual reaction of, I can't believe your head exploded. If your head explodes, you'll never make it as a doctor. As if that happens every day. And 4, and this was what really sold me, I completely, knowing how these shows are, I completely expected the next thing to happen to be like him snapping in front of him, like, JD, wake up. JD, stop daydreaming. No. After that happened, it just cuts to credits. The episode is just over. You have no time to process what you just saw. There's no further elaboration. It's just JD's head explodes and then the episode is over. It was that absurdity just out of nowhere that made me realize, okay, maybe I should keep watching. And turns out that was a great decision, because what I've seen of the show is actually really good. I don't know if it would be your cup of tea, personally, but Donnie Darko review. I might do that on another occasion. But anyway, but I don't know if it would be your cup of tea, personally, but I don't imagine it would be, but, you know, you never know. But what I've seen so far, which is basically most of Season 1, I surprisingly really like. Admittedly, it doesn't have as much of that absurd humor as I would like, but it's got everything that I do like, for the most part. In fact, there's a certain other scene that I would love to talk about, but it's much better just shown in private. Mostly because it's completely juvenile, and I could not play it without dying of laughter. But yeah. And of course, you know, me realizing, wait, I've been missing out this whole time, led me to say, yeah, of course I gotta invest. So when I went to the mall, the FYE in the mall, I found the complete 3rd season on DVD. Before you say, you haven't even finished Season 1, why'd you pick Season 3? It was the only one they had. So yeah, now I have Season 3. And of course, the other day, Monday, when me, my mom, and my sister went to my brother's house, I was like, okay, I know he has Season 9 around here. Found Season 9. So now I have it in my possession. So now I just need Seasons 1, 2, and then 4 through 8. But yeah, I really like Scrubs so far. And I'm a little mad that I thought it was as dumb as it was. God, you notice a pattern in my life that I'm a little judgmental about something, and then I give it a chance and I end up liking it? Have you picked up on that, audience? Because that seems to be a recurring theme in my life. Yeah, that seems to be a recurring theme. Alright, it is 12:18 okay. That's delicious. Okay. Alright. It is 12:18 a.m. my time. I think we're getting close to the end. So, before we wrap up tonight's episode, is there anything you would like to see for the next 5 minutes? And is there anything you'd like to see on the next episode besides bad movies we like? Like, are there any other possible suggestions? We have that one, but if there are any others, speak now or forever hold your peace. I really need to pee. Okay, well, I guess you can leave your suggestions, and then I'll kind of wrap up the show, and then you can pee. I apologize for holding you up, audience. Furries. There's a topic. Oh, yeah. Alright, so far we have... Okay, so far we have bad movies we like and furries. Okay. I'm adding these to the schedule. Alright. Thursday, July 4th. Alright. Do we have any suggestions? Combine them together. Okay. Okay, so that's July 3rd. Alright, so July 3rd, bad movies we like plus furries equals Sonic. Okay, so what are we doing on the July 4th episode? Adding some stuff to the schedule. So July 4th, what are we doing for Thursday on that episode? Alright, taking suggestions for the Thursday, July 4th episode. July 4th is watching President's Day. If you mean Independence Day, unless there's something called President's Day that I don't know, but okay. I guess I'll add that to the schedule. Okay. Not independent. Okay, I was wondering. Don't know what President's Day is, but I guess we're doing that. President's Day. Is it 2000? Okay. Is a 2010 comedy horror film. I should have known. I should have known it was a 80-minute horror comedy film from 2010 that I don't know exists, or that I didn't know existed. I should have known. Okay, so where to watch? Ah, Voodoo, no wonder. Okay. Alright. It's getting pretty hot and sweaty in here. I need to get... Oh, that's lovely. Alright. It is 12:23 a.m. For me, anyway. We have exhausted through a lot of material. I think this seems like a good place to wrap up for tonight. So, to you, the audience, is there anything you would like to say before we wrap up? Any last words for tonight? Just to wrap up the show? P. I'll take it. Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. But remember, God made you special, and He loves you very much. Good night, and have a day.